Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of Gary Talks. In the past, last season, I looked at sitcoms from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and I looked at single-camera comedies. I ranked my top 10 in each of those, but something I didn't do was compile them all and figure out what my favorites are. Well, I thought about doing a top 10 favorite TV comedies, but there were just too many, so today, we're doing an extra long episode. It's my top 25 TV comedies of all time. And let's start with number 25, Who's the Boss? Who's the Boss aired on ABC from 84 to 92. The show followed the life of Tony Michelli, a retired St. Louis Cardinal player who moves to Connecticut with his daughter Samantha. Alyssa Milano, by the way, was one of my first TV crushes. But anyway, Tony moves to Connecticut to become a live-in housekeeper for executive Angela Bauer and her son Jonathan. We just all had to go with it. Why would someone hire a baseball player to be the housekeeper, and why would he move all the way from Brooklyn? Whatever. We just went with it. But the main premise of the show revolved around the role reversal of a man taking care of domestic duties and a woman being the breadwinner in their household, which was a very unique take on the traditional family sitcom. The show was a hit due to the chemistry between the cast members, particularly the relationship between Tony Danza and Judith Light. And to answer the age-old question, without a doubt, Angela was the boss. Next up, Welcome Back, Kotter.
Julie, did I ever tell you about my Uncle Malcolm, the traveling salesman?
This was one of the first shows I remember watching where I couldn't wait to hear the catchphrases.
Hi there.
Where? Anywhere. Who?
Signed Epstein's mother.
And of course,
Up your nose with a rubber hose.
the Sweat Hogs were super fun characters, and even though they were supposed to be the roughest of the rough, they were all lovable and any kid would have loved to hang out with them. Coming in at number 23, The Good Place. As you'll see, a common theme that will carry through all of my favorite comedies is a great ensemble cast with lots of callbacks to running jokes. The Good Place is a prime example as our main 6 characters were all fully fledged characters that grew over time, and the show was filled with fun, recurring characters for all 4 seasons. The Good Place had many more twists and turns than a typical comedy would. It began with Kristen Bell's character finding herself in heaven, and she is pretty sure she's there by mistake, as she most certainly doesn't belong. We're going to get into a few spoilers here, but as the show goes on, it's revealed that she really does belong there. And not because she's a good person, but because this is really the bad place. Each season, more layers of the onion are revealed, and the show is strong all the way to the finale. And I have to admit, I'm a little biased, as I actually had a chance to visit the Good Place. And it was awesome. In West Philadelphia, born and raised, comes number 22, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. The Fresh Prince was must-watch for me and my friends back in the 90s. It had truly iconic characters. First of all, The Fresh Prince and Jazzy Jeff were an awesome duo at the time, so the chance to see Will Smith act seemed really special. But then you also had Uncle Phil as the stern, yet lovable patriarch, and Carlton as the nerdy cousin with some kick-ass dance moves. The show tackles a variety of relatable themes, including family dynamics, friendships, love, and personal growth. The characters face challenges and learn important life lessons, making the show both entertaining and thought-provoking. But above all, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is known for its humor, with hilarious jokes, witty one-liners, and physical comedy. At the same time, the show was not afraid to tackle issues and tug at the heartstrings, making it a well-rounded and emotionally satisfying series. Number 21, The Golden Girls. One of the main reasons people loved the Golden Girls was the strong bond between the 4 main characters, Dorothy, Blanche, Rose, and Sophia. Their friendship and camaraderie was heartwarming, and the show's portrayal of these strong female friendships demonstrates the importance of having a good support system, no matter your age. Additionally, the show's humor was both witty and heartfelt. The Golden Girls tackled a wide range of topics from aging and family to love and loss, with the perfect balance of comedy and sincerity. Finally, it was really groundbreaking. It featured 4 older women as the main characters. This representation was not only a rarity in television back then, it's still kind of rare these days, but it did help pave the way for more diverse and inclusive programming. The show's enduring popularity is a testament to its timeless appeal and the impact it's had on generations of viewers. Now we get our first TV show that came from HBO, Eastbound and Down. Eastbound and Down follows Kenny Powers, a former professional baseball pitcher whose self-destructive behavior leads to his downfall, and his attempts to make a comeback in the world of baseball and navigate his personal and professional life in his hometown of Shelby, North Carolina. Eastbound and Down is known for its over-the-top humor, often exploring themes of masculinity, fame, and redemption through absurd and outrageous situations. Danny McBride's portrayal of the brash and egotistical Kenny Powers is a comedic tour de force. Eastbound and Down boasts a distinctive visual style and direction with its use of handheld camera work, stylized editing, and atmospheric music contributing to the overall aesthetic. Overall, Eastbound and Down is a darkly comedic and often irreverent exploration of fame, failure, and the pursuit of redemption. With its characters, the sharp writing, the boundary-pushing humor, the series has earned a dedicated fan base and cemented its status as a cult classic. WKRP in Cincinnati comes in at number 19. I initially watched WKRP for 3 reasons. One was Dr. Johnny Fever, and the other 2 were Lonnie Anderson. As my wife and I have been rewatching all these episodes, we realize that the entire cast is top-notch, as the show follows a struggling radio station who is making the jump to rock and roll. The show was created by Hugh Wilson, who based it on his own experience working at a radio station, and you can feel the truth of the show and the characters here more than some other workplace comedies. The show was never really a hit when it first aired, but it has since gained a huge cult following, especially the famous Thanksgiving episode.
As God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly.
Hey now! Next up, The Larry Sanders Show. It was probably the first show I remember seeing where celebrities played fictional versions of themselves, and it really blew me away as a teenager. The Larry Sanders Show satirized the world of late-night talk shows and the entertainment industry as a whole. It provided a behind-the-scenes look at the fictional late-night talk show hosted by Larry Sanders, played by Gary Shandling, showcasing the egos, politics, and insecurities involved in producing such a show. The Larry Sanders Show had super smart writing and was literally a laugh a minute, if not more. From a technical standpoint, the show mixed film and videotape to highlight what we were seeing that was on the TV show and what we were seeing that was behind the scenes, or in real life. If it's one you haven't seen, be sure to watch it, and even now, 25 years later, it still holds up. At number 17, Family Ties. One of the most notable aspects of the show was the generation gap between the parents and their children. The parents were former hippies and liberal activists, but their children, especially Alex, were more conservative and focused on money and success. It summed up perfectly the differences of the 1960s mindset versus the 1980s. Michael J. Fox became a global superstar playing Alex, as he was lovable in his quest for one day being super wealthy and being as different as his laid-back parents as possible. I'll never forget the episode where Alex lost his virginity. I certainly wasn't familiar with Hugh Hefner, or even really what being a virgin was. But even then I got the humor of the way Alex was dressed and his change in attitude. It was comedy that worked on many levels and still holds up to this day. As we're moving on up to number 16, The Jeffersons. George and Louise Jefferson were next-door neighbors of Archie and Edith Bunker for the first 3 seasons of All in the Family. After a few members of the Black Panthers who were fans of the show talked to Norman Lear, they asked why all the black characters on his shows are always dirt poor. Lear decided to take that idea and make the Jeffersons wealthy and move them into an upper-class high-rise building. George and Wheezy were a dynamic and relatable couple, and their interactions with their neighbors and friends provided plenty of comedic moments. The show's supporting cast, including Florence, the sassy housekeeper, and Tom and Helen Willis, the interracial couple, added depth and diversity to the show. My personal favorite was always Mr. Bentley, their eccentric British next-door neighbor. Because The Jeffersons was so well-written, well-acted, and socially relevant, it left a lasting impact that can still be seen on today's television landscape. At number 15 is a show that a lot of people think the later seasons hurt the legacy of the show, but I still think those later seasons, while maybe not as good, are still pretty fun. That show is The Office. The characters from The Office have become iconic, from the bumbling yet lovable Michael Scott to the sarcastic and deadpan Jim Halpert. The show is filled with unforgettable characters. You'll find yourself rooting for some, laughing at others, and maybe even relating to a few. The Office has a wide range of humor, from subtle jokes to over-the-top gags. Whether you enjoy witty banter, cringe comedy, or slapstick humor, there's something in it for everyone. And in the middle of it all, there was a lot of heart and friendship. The Office was one of the first mockumentary TV shows that was done like a reality show, and while that became overdone and cliché, it was perfect on this show, and from what I've heard, there will now be a spin-off that is about the documentary crew, which could very well be awesome. Will it be better than The Office? In the words of Dwight K. Schrute, false. Number 14. The Cosby Show. The Cosby Show followed the life of the Huxtable family, an upper-middle-class African-American family living in Brooklyn. It might not seem like a lot now, but this was a huge moment in TV history. We never had the chance to see a black family on TV who was this relatable to families of all races as the way the Huxtables were. One of the big reasons to watch The Cosby Show was the amazing cast, led by Bill Cosby as Dr. Heathcliff Huxtable. The chemistry between the actors is fantastic, and the characters were relatable and lovable. Everybody had their own favorite Huxtable child. Mine was Theo. The show also tackled important issues like racism, sexism, and teen pregnancy, but it did it in a lighthearted and humorous way. It also taught me personally not to stand with the fridge open deciding what to eat. Thanks, Theo. Next up, All in the Family. The show broke ground in its depiction of issues previously considered unsuitable for a U.S. network audience, such as racism, homosexuality, women's lib, rape, religion, miscarriages, abortion. A lot of people were not ready to see this, and a lot were very offended. But it was also insanely popular, consistently topping the ratings each season when it was on. Archie Bunker was often called the lovable bigot, but I don't think that term works perfectly. He was most certainly a bigot, but he was a fully fleshed out and well-rounded character. The fact that he had many bigoted views didn't automatically make him a villain, as he was also a fairly loving and caring man in his own way. And Archie's views weren't set up to make him a hero. It just showed how out of touch he was with the ever-changing world of the 70s. The fact that All in the Family is just as relevant today as it was 50 years ago says a lot about how great the show was, as well as the state of our current world today. Number 12. I'm coming for you, Elizabeth! Sanford and Son, you big dummies. Based on a British sitcom called Steptoe and Son, which I have never seen, Sanford and Son followed the adventures of the legendary Red Fox as Fred Sanford as he ran a junkyard with his big dummy of a son, Lamont. The show's humor was often based on the tension between Fred and Lamont as they navigated the challenges of running a small business and their family dynamic. Additionally, the show's humor was often rooted in its portrayal of working-class life and the struggles of running a small business. The characters' attempts to make ends meet and their encounters with various colorful characters in the community provided ample opportunity for great moments. The show incorporated physical comedy and slapstick humor, such as Fred's exaggerated reactions and gestures, which added to the overall comedic appeal. But it also wasn't just for laughs. Like many of these shows in the 70s, the show tackled important social issues of the time like race and class. A little trivia, Red Fox's real last name was Sanford. Number 11, Roseanne. Growing up a poor white kid whose parents struggled to make ends meet, Roseanne hit a chord with me in a way that other shows didn't. It was the first TV show where I felt like I was kind of looking at my life. And it wasn't just me, as millions found the show's characters relatable and well-developed, with their own unique quirks and flaws. The Connors were not a picture-perfect family, but rather a family that faced real-life problems such as financial struggles, job loss, and relationship issues. Like its star, Roseanne was known for its sharp, witty humor that often dealt with controversial topics. The show's writers were not afraid to tackle sensitive subjects such as domestic violence, teenage pregnancy, racism, and it challenged traditional family values and stereotypes. Yes, it had one of the worst final seasons ever, and the only thing that could make it even worse would be doing a new version of the show and then killing off Roseanne. But that would never happen. Now we're in the top 10, and we have one of, if not the, longest running comedies on TV. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. The show revolves around a group of 5 friends who own and operate an Irish bar called Paddy's Pub in Philadelphia. Each character is deeply, deeply flawed, selfish, and morally questionable in their own way, which sets the stage for absurd and often outrageous situations. It's Always Sunny is known for its edgy and boundary-pushing humor. It fearlessly tackles taboo subjects such as addiction, mental illness, racism, and sexuality, often using satire to critique social norms and conventions. It's Always Sunny has developed a dedicated cult following over the years, with fans embracing the dark humor and the characters. Its influence can be seen in other comedies and its impact on internet culture, with fans creating memes and fan theories around the show's lore. Overall, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia wasn't afraid to push the boundaries and challenge the audience. It had that unique blend of dark humor, satire, and characters that has solidified its place as one of the most beloved and enduring sitcoms of its generation. Number 9. Friends. Friends had a winning combination of witty dialogue, physical comedy, and situational humor. The jokes were often lighthearted and universally appealing, making it enjoyable for a broad audience. The chemistry among the cast members was palpable, and their camaraderie really translated well on screen. Viewers felt like they were part of the friend group themselves, which contributed to the show's popularity. Friends really captured the zeitgeist of the 90s, and its themes of friendship, love, and independence resonated with the changing social dynamics of the time. And ultimately, it's filled with great moments and catchphrases.
How you doing?
We were on a break!
Even after its original run ended, Friends continued to thrive in syndication. Its availability on streaming platforms allowed new generations to discover and enjoy the show, ensuring its longevity and relevance. Number 8 is the pride of Polk High, Al Bundy, and Married with Children. From the sarcastic and perpetually unlucky Al Bundy to his equally sarcastic and materialistic wife Peggy, the characters in Married with Children are larger than life and incredibly memorable. Each member of the Bundy family brings their own brand of humor to the table, creating a dynamic that's both dysfunctional and strangely endearing. And while Steve was an okay neighbor, Jefferson Darcy is one of my all-time favorite supporting characters. How he ended up stuck with Marcy, the world may never know. Even though it was crude, many of the themes explored in Married with Children remain relevant today. From the struggles of middle-class life to the challenges of marriage and family dynamics, the show tackled universal issues with humor and wit that stands the test of time. At its core, Married with Children offers satirical commentary on the American dream. It presents a stark contrast to the idealized portraits of family life seen in other sitcoms of the time, offering a refreshing and often absurd take on the realities of the suburban existence. Now we're really getting into the flawless shows. All of these shows are pretty much perfect if you ask me. Number 7, Taxi. Taxi had quite possibly the best cast of any 70s sitcom. Danny DeVito, Christopher Lloyd, Andy Kaufman, Tony Danza, Jeff Conaway, and Mary Lou Henner. And the cast was anchored by the always serious and put-upon Judd Hirsch. Taxi followed a group of cabbies, as well as their dispatcher Louis De Palma. And other than Judd Hirsch's Alex, who had resigned himself to being a lifelong cab driver, everyone else was just driving a cab until their dreams came true, which they never did. And of course, there was Latka. Andy Kaufman hated what the show did to his foreign man character, or at least, that's the story we've been led to believe, because with Andy, you never really could know. But it led to some of the greatest moments in the history of comedy. And a little bit of trivia here too. The role of Bobby, played by Jeff Conaway, was originally offered to Robin Williams. Can you imagine the show with him in the cast as well? Community comes in at number 6. Community is set at the fictional Greendale Community College and follows a diverse group of students who form an unlikely bond while attending classes together. The main character, Jeff Winger, is a disbarred lawyer who enrolls in Greendale after his credentials are questioned. He forms a study group with other students including the earnest and awkward Annie Edison, the pop culture savvy Abed Nadir, the outspoken and politically active Britta Perry, the lovably naive Troy Barnes, the mature and sarcastic Shirley Bennett, and the eccentric millionaire Pierce Hawthorne, played by the comedy genius Chevy Chase. Throughout the series, the group navigates various misadventures ranging from absurd paintball wars to elaborate heists, all while dealing with personal growth and relationships. The The show is known for its inventive storytelling, often breaking the fourth wall and experimenting with different genres and narrative styles. The show's meta humor and clever writing have earned it a place in television history as a true cult classic. And it looks like Dan Harmon's promise of 6 seasons and a movie is actually happening, as the Community movie has been greenlit. It's time to head back to Greendale one more time. Coming in at number 5 is what I consider the greatest show of the 1970s, Three's Company. When I was younger watching Three's Company originally, it was John Ritter as Jack Tripper who always made me laugh. The situations he would get into, along with his slapstick style of comedy and facial expressions, was captivating to a kid. But the older I got, the more Mr. Roper became my favorite character.
Stanley, if you came home and found another man making love to me, what would you do to him?
Nothing.
Nothing? Why not?
Well, I figured a guy suffered enough.
The only reason he allowed Jack to live with 2 girls in the apartment was because he assumed Jack was gay, which led to a lot of the comedic bits in the show. Mr. Roper was later replaced by Don Knotts as Mr. Furley, who was funny in his own right, but Mr. Roper will always be my favorite. The original 3 roommates of Jack, Chrissy, and Janet had chemistry for days. Once Chrissy was switched out for other roommates, the show wasn't quite as charming as it once was, but even those episodes had their moments. Above all else, I'd love to know what Mrs. Roper was smoking to make her so damn horny for Mr. Roper. Whatever it was must have really aged them, because Norman Fell was only 53 and Audred Lindley was 46. People really looked older in the 70s. Number 4 is a show that just had its final season, wink wink, as there's already talk about maybe they'll come back. Curb Your Enthusiasm. Curb Your Enthusiasm was of course created by Larry David, where he stars as, well, he claims a fictionalized version of himself, but I think we all know we are seeing the real Larry David. Curb Your Enthusiasm was what is known as a scripted improv show, as there would be a skeleton of a script, but a lot of what we saw on screen was all improvisation, which thanks to the super talented cast and guest stars, is a true comedic masterpiece. Larry is often depicted as neurotic, socially awkward, and prone to getting himself into embarrassing situations. The humor of the show stems from Larry's unfiltered honesty, his inability to navigate society, and his tendency to speak his mind regardless of the consequences. The show has been praised for its fearlessness in addressing sensitive issues, making it a must-watch for anyone who appreciates bold and boundary-pushing humor. Number 3 is hands down the best show of the 1980s, Cheers. Cheers had a unique premise that resonated with audiences like me. It was set in a Boston bar, and the show explored the lives of all the bar's staff and patrons. It created a sense of community and camaraderie that made viewers feel like they were part of the gang. The show's ensemble cast, led by Ted Danson and Shelley Long in the early years, had great chemistry and brought their characters to life in a way that made them feel like real people. The writing on Cheers was also top-notch. The show's writers had a knack for crafting hilarious situations and one-liners that still hold up today. My all-time favorite episode was Season 8's What is Cliff Clavin? Cliff goes on Jeopardy, and I still maintain he should have won with his answer.
You wrote down, who are 3 people who have never been in my kitchen. No, I'm sorry, that too is wrong. The correct response is, what were the real names of Cary Grant, Tony Curtis, and Joan Crawford?
Be that as it may, Alex, those people have never been in my kitchen.
Technically, he was right. And this episode still makes me laugh over 30 years later. Number 2 and number 1 are very, very close to me. And honestly, if there hadn't been extra seasons on Netflix that were bad, this might have been number 1. But instead, Arrested Development comes in at number 2. Arrested Development follows the dysfunctional Bluth family, a wealthy yet deeply flawed clan living in Orange County, California. The patriarch, George Bluth Sr., played by Jeffrey Tambor, is arrested for white-collar crime, leaving his son Michael Bluth, played to perfection by Jason Bateman, to take over the family business and care for his eccentric relatives. Arrested Development is known for its clever wordplay, running gags, and intricate plot lines, often featuring callbacks and foreshadowing across episodes and seasons. Despite critical acclaim and a dedicated fan base, Arrested Development struggled with low ratings during its original run on Fox, leading to its cancellation after 3 seasons in 2006. However, The show's cult status continued to grow in the years following its cancellation, leading to that revival, which was ambitious, but ultimately wasn't very good. The thing that sets Arrested Development apart from all the other shows on this list is you can watch it for the second, third, fourth, or fifth time, and you will still catch things and little performances you might have missed before. You get this a lot with the best of TV dramas like Breaking Bad, The Sopranos, or The Wire, but you don't see it a lot from a comedy show. And now for number 1, my favorite comedy of all time, one of my top 5 TV shows of all time, and the greatest sitcom of the 1990s, Seinfeld. I love Seinfeld so much that it's almost hard to explain why. The 4 main characters were all great. Well, 3 of the 4 were, and Jerry was there just to be amazed by everybody. And it stayed pretty damn consistent with some of the funniest writing of all time for 9 seasons. Larry David and Jerry Seinfeld have a knack for finding humor in the mundane aspects of life, and their comedic timing was impeccable. From The Soup Nazi to The Contest, these episodes are not only funny, but they also capture the spirit of the show and its characters. Despite being over 30 years old, Seinfeld's humor is still fresh and relevant today. The show's observations about human behavior and social interactions are timeless, and its humor is just as funny now as when it first aired. My personal favorite moment of all great Seinfeld episodes is this one.
Well, the jerk store called. They're running out of you.
What's the difference? You're their all-time bestseller.
No, wait, maybe it's this one.
What delay industries?
No! Their delay! Say their delay!
Now you're way off. Well, yeah, that's the right number, but this isn't an apartment.
No,
What?
their delay! Say their delay industries!
Yeah, no problem.
And you want to be my latex salesman?
I actually can't choose a favorite, which means it's time to go back and start rewatching my all-time favorite comedy one more time. And that's it. It was a long list. Thank you guys for sticking through it. Hopefully you saw some shows you like. Be sure and join me next week when I look at adaptations of video games. And I've got special guests Eli Roth, Kevin Hart, Kate Blanchett, and Jamie Lee Curtis. See you then.
From capes to tapes, Gary's on the case. He's breaking down each scene, every place. On Gary Talks, he's quick with his peculiar wit. From plot twists to the comic strips, Gary's flipping sick.